What's going on, everyone? Today we're going to be doing a really quick look and just kind of off the cuff my thoughts on the two free practices that just finished. So we're going to look at FP2's results, see what teams are succeeding, which teams are not succeeding, and we're going to take a look at what we can expect come Sunday. So FP2 literally just finished up. I'm recording this. Max Verstappen, no doubt the Red Bull is 1-3. That is huge. But I think more importantly, everyone expected that. More importantly is that Alonso's right in between them. Now, they're both Alonso and Perez are, zero point 0.2 plus off of Verstappen. But the fact that Alonso is even able to be up there really is a huge triumph for Aston Martin. And it showed that Bahrain, it's not a fluke. So Aston Martin really is here to stay, especially this, the first street circuit of the entire year, and that the throttle is just flat out for I think something like 72% of the lap, which is incredible. It's going to put a lot of wear and tear on the cars. There's not a lot of degradation, so they predict it just to be a one-stop race. So we'll see about that. Either way, the fact that Alonso is still at the top of his game and able to split the Red Bulls is massive. Aston Martin's here to stay. Bahrain was not a fluke. So you got Max. The podium, if you will, of FP2 is Max, Alonso, and then Sergio Perez. No shock there. Here's where it gets a little interesting. Alpine really stepped their game up from Bahrain with Ocon. Now you can see that he's 0.4 away from Max, which is, another 0.2 or 0.1, I don't know, what would that be, 7-6 away from Perez. So there's definitely a gap there. They're differentiating themselves, but the fact that Alpine was able to be 4 and 6 is huge. I don't know if any upgrades came through or they tried something new with the car, but Alpine's here. So maybe all the street circuits with really fast, flat out laps, where the throttle is full down most of the time, maybe Alpine's going to really excel at those. Now, there was a big gap between the Mercedes. Obviously, you have Russell in 5th, and then you have Lewis Hamilton in 11th. So big gap there. Not sure what was going on with Hamilton. Hopefully, he'll be able to make something happen during qualifying and the race, but this practice, he just did not have it, and that was very clear. Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin, Aston Martin would probably want to see him above the Alpines for sure. During the race, I think Aston Martin probably has the better race pace than the Alpines, but we'll have to see. Either way, huge stars are looking bright for Alpine this weekend, at least. Here's another thing, Nico Hülkenberg. I thought that Magnussen was going to just wipe the floor with Hülkenberg, but that is not the case at all. Hülkenberg, especially on the one lap pace, has been absolutely incredible. So the fact that he's in the top 10 in the Haas is really incredible. Here's where we get to the sad part of this entire thing. Ferrari look at this, 9th and 10th fastest times. They just did not have it. Don't know what was going on with them, but they need to make something happen. Leclerc the whole time was basically putting radio messages through, complaining, check this, see if it's wrong, check this, see if it's wrong, but nothing was. And of course, Leclerc's getting a 10th-place grid penalty, so he needs to qualify as high as he can, especially since it's not given that the Ferraris are going to have incredible race pace like they did last year. Last year, if he had the 10th-place grid penalty, he'd be able to weave through the field no problem. That's not the case this time, so yeah. Ferrari needs to figure something out. It was tough to watch, but really rooting for him. Hopefully they can turn this all around. Then, like we said, we have Lewis Hamilton in 11th. But then you kind of get to the teams where no one really talked about them. The McLarens, AlphaTauris, it just wasn't. They're not a factor. Same with the Alfa Romeos. The fact that Valtteri is in 20th, 1.4 seconds off, it's just rough. I think everyone expects Williams to do pretty well in this. Last year they had really great straight line speed. So I think that, I think that they've held that up. So I expect Albon and Sargent to do some damage in a good way like they did last race in Bahrain. But again, the AlphaTauri, no one really talked about them. the Alfa Romeo. Oh, Valtteri, please tell me you can make something happen during this race and that this FP3 was just a fluke, or FP2, sorry, was just a fluke. But yeah, McLaren really not a factor. I mean, Lando was able to finish in 12th, which is a good sign. But I mean, the gap between them, the McLarens, and any team that matters is it's rough right now. But I think that they have a upgrade package coming a few races down the road, which they say is supposed to be a big improvement. So we'll have to see about that. But you have Norris in 11th, Sonoda in 13th, Albon, Magnussen, Zhou, and then you have the rookies, Nick, Logan, and Oscar Piastri. And then Valtteri. It's a shame. You kind of expect the rookies to be down there and getting the lay of the land, but the fact that Valtteri's down there is just rough. Look, I don't know. And here's the thing. They could just be trying something with the car. They could not be. But, yeah, you kind of expect more. You expect more from him there. But I'm very excited for Saudi Arabia. I think it's no doubt that the Red Bulls are going to pull away. So I think the only thing is between Aston Martin, Ferrari, and Mercedes, which team is going to be able to make it happen. So that's the real thing. I think, obviously, Red Bull will do the best. I think you're going to see Aston Martin do second best, then Mercedes. And I just don't think Ferrari has it this weekend. I don't know if it's how their car is reacting to the track, or especially with Leclerc and that grid penalty. I think on the podium you could expect Red Bull and Aston Martin, and then Mercedes close behind. Ferrari a little bit behind that. Maybe the Alpines will surprise us too. But I don't know if they'll be able to keep it up for the whole race. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Again, we have live streams of every session. Tomorrow we're going to have the FP3 with the commentary, driver lap times, segment times, tire usage, and then, of course, a driver map so you can see where the cars are on the track. And we do that for every race and practice session and qualifying. So tune in if you want to see that live on the channel. And thanks for watching. Hopefully we have a phenomenal Saudi Arabia Grand Prix. Hopefully Ferrari can make something happen. And I'll catch you next video.